I mean, if somebody in the States is looking at this and says, kind of looks like an Indy car, how do you explain the difference?
Firstly, it's way better than an Indy car. An Indy car it's just not as technical as this.
Right.
Even a NASCAR, you know, it's a tin top. I mean, a NASCAR sounds fantastic, but it's heavy, it's chunky. They don't have buttons. It has not even probably half the technology as we have in this car. And this is the state of the art. There's this aerodynamic flow down the car like you cannot imagine. The force that it sucks the car to the ground.
This is like a rocket going around the turns.
It is. You know, all these, basically the air, as you're driving, the airflow is coming over this car and underneath this car, and the faster you go, the more it sucks to the ground. And so you can go through these corners at it's like going like a fighter jet going around a corner. It's insane.
I think one of the easiest ways to explain just how big Formula One is Formula One teams spend in a year what US NASCAR teams are worth. And what was interesting to me about Formula One cars, the steering wheel, I think there are 20 buttons on the steering wheel alone. And how often are you clicking buttons on here at any one time?
In every lap, you're moving. This is like a brake migration, which you're never going to understand that as. And then this is brake balance, so the percentage of balance you have on the front and the rear. So you're moving that from corner to corner. And then we have like engine braking. We have high-speed diff mid, diff entry. Diff exit is in here, and the multiple switch. And then there's all these different things. You have radio, you have, there's a ton of sensors on the car, and the team might ask you to have to turn off a sensor if it's failing, because it could be an engine or exhaust sensor, for example.
And that's common.
Yeah, and for example, if one fails because it gets too hot, it could lead to the fuel mixture being wrong and the engine blows up, for example. So they'll tell you have to turn that off.
Okay.
And so and then there's obviously engine strat, fuel usage. We only have 100 kilos to use on the race, so I've got to watch my fuel meter, fuel gauge, and judge when I use the power, when I don't use the power, when I save, when I don't save, and all those. And when I'm doing a pit stop, for example, you go to the more powerful setting for the in-lap and use more fuel. Then when you come out of the pit stop, you have to save that fuel again, and all these different things.
For more clips from this interview, visit GrahamBensinger.com.